Coming in here looking like she out of
Hello.
the 70s or something.
Look,
Like she
Thelma,
on
Thelma Evans.
Will Smith show or something. Yeah. Got her bamboo earrings on.
Hey,
Okay, well we'll see you once you log in. All right.
Hey, Odell.
uh-huh. How y'all doing?
Saying hello.
Oh, let me see if I can let y'all see me. Oh, trying to add a little light. I like the dark.
I
No,
was
my
trying to put
eyes
some light on too, but I was running
like
behind. So we got Uncle Jeff, Ma, Odell, Tony, Erica, and I know Jessica says she gotta get off first.
I ain't doing any homework.
Now the only person who did homework was Odell.
Well, we covered.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Let's see.
Still got a couple of missing information. We'll see.
Oh,
Let me get well, I'm gonna give people a couple minutes to jump on. I'm gonna go grab my notebook. Okay. Did we have anybody else try to join?
Not that I see. And I checked with
Okay.
Barbara and them this morning. She said they got internet, and I had sent them something. They responded. So I don't know if they got Zoom hooked up or not. But I need to leave about 4. Found off about 4:15 because I get to the funeral home before 5 for a viewing. So.
Okay, well, we can go ahead and get started, and then as people jump on, I'll add them in. All right. Well, welcome everybody to returners. Welcome back to new people. Welcome, welcome. This is our second story circle. Our first one was on Grandma Susie. This one is on Grandma Mauphene. I didn't realize that her birthday was 10/10, so it just happened to line up with the right month. And then I was suggesting that we do Grandma Rosie, Grandmama next month. Her birthday lines up in that month too. And I didn't, no, she's August.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't realize that Grandma Mauphene was this month. So that was just happenstance. That worked out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I was gonna ask those questions. I guess since you have this up, you can share that. I was just about to ask, like, when was she born? What city? And for everybody who's on the call, have you heard of any of her childhood stories?
Not really.
No, well, I know she's born in Colfax, and part of the Tademy family, and I think her grandmother raised her, from what I've been told, because Grandma Susie traveled around quite a bit. So I see Uncle Sonny is coming on, probably tell something about the early, early childhood. But yes, she was born and raised in Colfax.
Okay. So what is, this question is to everybody. What is your earliest memory of Grandma Mauphene?
Any particular order?
Anybody can go.
There you go, there.
I just
Hey, Uncle
remember.
Sonny.
Yeah, what was the question?
Your earliest memory of Grandma Mauphene.
Oh, I think I mentioned it to you last time. It was the first time when I was about 4 years old, I think. And she was living in Campton, and that's when I first met her. Because that's the first time I met her, and the first time she met me when I was about 4 years old in Campton, Louisiana, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who else?
So it sounds like she was born and raised in Colfax, but they must have moved to Campton pretty early in the marriage. Is that true, Sonny?
Again,
I said she was born and raised, I guess, in Colfax, but they must have moved to Campton early after they got married.
right, yeah. And I didn't know anything. 'Cause I was real young. So like I say, the first time I never seen her was I was about 4 years old when they were living in Campton. That's the only, other than that, I didn't, she didn't know anything about me and I didn't know anything about her. So that was the first time, you know.
Okay.
Around that time they did hear about you. Hi, this is Bebe.
Oh, there.
Hi, I'm sitting here by my cousin. He talked to me somewhat when he was 4 or either approaching the age of 4. James Brown, her husband, they heard talk that Susie had a little boy in town where she was living. And so Fiend told me, she said, her husband, he decided he was going to go there and talk to her because they wanted to really meet him and see if possible for him to live with them where they were living. I had no idea it was in Campton, but it was not far from Colfax where they were staying because they stayed out like in the countryside. And these are the things that she was sharing with me.
Zoom meeting with Jamie on in.
So anyway, Mama, well, I call her Mama. Mama agreed to allow Sonny to come to Campton with the family. And how long he stayed out there, I don't know. But these are the things that, over the years, Fiend kind of shared with me because I think she wanted me to know because she probably figured one day I'll be able to tell some things that perhaps Sonny would have forgotten. But yes, I do remember her and your grandfather and father talking to each other. But now who that person was, it could have been a relative that mentioned that Susie was in town with a little boy and they became concerned. They wanted to know this little boy and they wanted him in their life. So James Brown is the one that went to see her and asked her to let him come out to where they were staying. And from there, it was love. Just love that they would share because she fell in love with this baby when she saw him. And from that, I think, they were off and on. He was there with them. This is new to me that it was Campton because when I first met Fiend and your father and grandfather, James Brown, that was in Campty. I met Rosie at the same time, but that was actually it was 1971. I was pregnant with Maria at the time.
1971.
71 when I met them, where they stayed. If you were facing their house that they lived in, to my right, Rosie lived in back over there. In fact, I met you, Odell, you and John. That was 1971.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. And even that day, you can see the love with both. It was like they were his father, his mother and father to me. That's what it reminded me of, because they had the love of a mother and father rather than a sister and a brother-in-law. And they had pride. They wore pride knowing he was there to see them.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all. Odell, Uncle Jeff, Ma, Aunt Rhonda, Jessica, Tony, what are y'all's first memories, earliest memories?
Well, I guess my memories was just growing up as a little boy, and because I was the oldest grandkid, so I was taken or or given. But then I just remembered probably my earliest. I can remember being 6 years old, 5 years old, even before school started, staying with them, and I stayed with sister and my mother and stepfather during during the summer. I never did really like staying in Glenmore and Oakdale where they stayed, so I ended up staying with the grandparents, and at that time it was in Colfax, and so apparently Feen grew up in Colfax. They got married. They got married on December 29th, 1929 is when they married. And so they, apparently they moved to Campty early on, because that's when the earliest children were married. And then they moved back to Colfax and then back to Campty. So that's kind of because there was the Brown family had some land up in Graff Bluff or Campty. And
You said they had land where now?
And it's called Graff's Bluff. Raff, possibly yes, Bluff. So it was like a little north of Campty, the town. And so that's when they moved from Colfax back up there to move to the family land. And that's when I was in the 4th grade then. So that must have been, if I was in the 4th grade, that must have been 1958 or somewhere along in there.
What happened to the land?
Sold when they put a right of way through there. That the land had oil on the land, I think, because even when it rained, you could see some of the oil come up on the ground, and it had springs on the land and all that. And then there was only certain family members or a certain side of the family that kept up the taxes. And so when it was sold and put the right of way through there, a road through there, it was just sold. I don't think the money was evenly distributed, but that was a whole new story.
And you said that was Graff's Bluff, GREFF, GRAFF?
AFF.
Okay. Yeah, I try to go find that. Okay. Who else? Who else got an early memory? What's your earliest memory of Grandma Mauphene?
This is Jeff.
Uh-huh.
And I guess some of my earliest memories of Granny is Probably, I guess I must have been three or four, somewhere in there. And Granny used to babysit both me and Peaches every day. And we had a complete routine. Every morning, Uncle Clayton and Aunt Pat would drop off Peaches. Um, this was back when Aunt Pat was working for Sears and Roebuck downtown, and we had a complete routine. It was interesting, but it was fun. I don't at that time. I guess I was young and innocent and thought it was always going to be that way. But those were pretty much the first memories that I
What
have.
were y'all's routines? What did y'all do?
I would be up waiting, standing by the door, waiting for them to come. They came every morning, right around just before 7 o'clock, and then me and Peaches would play. But while we were playing, Granny was fixing breakfast, and she had to have her coffee and bread. She had to have her coffee and bread, and so she would fix us some coffee and bread and fix us um, some some regular breakfast or whatever. And then we would sit on the floor, eat our breakfast, watch TV, and everything was like time based off of what was on television. At 10 o'clock, The Price is Right came on. We watched that. Uh, we watched the Jeffersons. Everything back then was, you could tell the time of day just by the TV and what show was on. And that's what we did. She would have lunch for us right at probably before noon. It was probably like 11:30 or so. And we take a nap about 1 or 2 after we finish eating. Wake up, it's about 3 something. We'd watch TV, me and Peaches would play. And before you know it, it's like 5:30 and here come Aunt Pat and Uncle Clayton. I remember the car and everything, the Dodge they had, all of that. And so those are some of my earliest memories.
What kind of bread was she eating? I'm being nosy, but what kind of bread?
She would always do toast, which made me like toast. She would butter it and all of that. And she would have several pieces of toast with her coffee. And that's what it was. It was good.
I like that.
Real good.
Well, Mama, what's your
go
earliest?
ahead. My earliest is gonna be, I know it's Louisiana. I can't say if it was Natchitoches or anything, but I know we was living in some apartments close to them because I can run out of the apartment and go around on the sidewalk to their house, wherever that was. I can't remember, but I remember running around there anytime that I get in trouble. I'll run out of that house and I'll run around down that sidewalk to get to them so I didn't have to take a lick.
That was J.W. Thomas Apartments in Natchitoches.
Oh, okay.
J.W. Thomas?
Yes.
Apartments in Natchitoches. Okay. What was you doing to get in trouble?
I don't know. I can't even remember. I just know where to go to get saved. Oh, yeah.
So
and she'll say, leave that gal alone. So that's where I go. So they'll leave me alone.
How long were y'all in Natchitoches?
It wasn't very long. I remember us going there and I remember us leaving there. So, and those 2 time periods seem really close together.
So y'all were visiting?
No, we lived there.
Y'all lived there? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, J.W. Thomas was actually the projects, which we thought at that particular time, the projects was something good. We later found out as we got older that the projects was like low income, but these were like a brand new set of houses, because the housing that we lived in prior to, which would have been in Campty, was like the country, dirt roads and things like that. So for us, the projects was something good. It was like a come up in a sense.
Do you remember how old you were when y'all left Campty?
I had to be, I remember starting school before moving there, and it may be a little bit fuzzy, kind of. I remember starting school before we moved, and I remember starting school when we got there. At the time, I didn't really process that that's what that was. I was going to school. In fact, I went to school with Aunt Barbara. We rode the school bus together to get to school. And she had to be, I guess, if I was in kindergarten, she had to be in 10th grade, since she's 10 years older than me. At the time, I thought she was like grown or something like that. But
if you were in kindergarten, yeah, you're right. She would be 15. So like freshman or sophomore.
Yeah, she would have had to be sophomore at that time. But I do remember that we rode the bus together going to school in Natchitoches.
What was the name of the school?
Couldn't tell you that, but I just remember that much of it.
Okay.
She went to Natchitoches Central High School.
Natchitoches Central High School.
Mm-hmm.
Wanda, is that the time your grandfather was still living? It's right before he passed away, right?
It might have been right around that same time.
You
I think
lived near each other, I believe.
Yeah, I think he passed away pretty close to around the time that we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away in May 1972.
Was it 72?
Because I graduated in December 72. I was a senior when he graduated, and it was a week before I went over in the fraternity. So it was May 16th is actually when he died.
Oh, okay.
May 16th, 1962.
72.
1972, yeah.
I had it mixed up with 73. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember, so I'll share my first memories of my grandmother. My first real memories start in Dallas, once we moved to Dallas. I would say prior to that, most of my memories would have been my grandfather. And so when we moved to Dallas, Melanie and I don't know if Mel remembers, but we would ride the bus with my grandmother to the hospital. Sometimes both of us, sometimes just me. We would, because we could read and my grandmother couldn't read. So my earliest memory started out with me reading the Bible to her, because she had a second grade education. And so when I learned to read, she would say, "Come here, gal, you know how to read." And she'll say, "Get that Bible right there." And I'd get the Bible, and then she would just open it to a random page. And then she'll say, "Read that." So I would. And so that's where I got a lot of my reading practice. And so when it was discussed, everyone worked at that time. Mom worked, Aunt Barbara worked. And so a lot of people worked. And so it was discussed, hey, how are we going to get her to her hospital appointments? Because she was diagnosed as diabetic, so she would have frequent hospital visits. Well, she could ride the bus, except she couldn't read. And so since I could read, then I was the designated one to ride on the bus with her and be able to read the signs. And she was the responsible adult. So the two of us together, we were able to get her to the hospital and back because I could read. And then,
how old were you when this was going on?
7, 8. I learned how to read at maybe 6 or 7. We moved to Dallas. I take that back. We moved to Dallas. I was 7. So that means I was in the 2nd grade. Aunt Barbara used to comb my hair every day. And I was sad when she got a job because that meant she couldn't comb my hair every day. And I wasn't going to have the best hair in the classroom anymore because I always had the best combed hair in the classroom, which, that's why Mel became a hairstylist. I didn't, because I didn't take the interest to doing hair, but
Somebody had to say.
To make a long story short, I was between 7 and 8. We would ride the bus together to the hospital, and that was like an all-day thing.
So you would have to miss school.
Yeah.
And that was around 2nd grade?
Yeah.
How often did you miss school doing that?
I remember she had regular appointments. I don't know the time frame between those. Aunt Barbara might know a little bit more about the time frame, but I remember, it often enough. I can remember multiple trips. I do remember one day where it was like real crowded, and me and Grandma, we called her Grandma. We got shoved on to the wrong bus. Now, ask me how we got home. I do not know, because I knew to catch the Lisbon East and the Lisbon West went the wrong way. And so somehow, I think I could see Lisbon, but I couldn't see the whole word. I couldn't see the rest of it. And I was hoping I was hoping that the rest of the text said west or east, or whichever one we were supposed to catch. But it wasn't. It was the wrong bus. And so we ended up riding a long time, me and her. And we eventually got home. I don't know how, but we eventually got home. But it would be a lot of stories like that where she would go off by herself and come back with a story to tell, stuff like that, in a new city. Because it's not like where we came from, where everybody was friendly. We didn't know that, hey, to beware of the city, because people here are not like where you came from.
So it was a culture shift too.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tony and Jessica, like last time, if y'all have questions, jump in, because I'll just ask 1,000. Y'all know me. Tony coming out.
Oh, I thought she had something to say. Nothing. Noted.
Okay. So now moving from the earliest memory to her and Grandpa James, what do y'all remember about their relationship? Was it a romantic relationship? Was it just a standard partnership? Like, what was that like? What do you remember?
Ooh.
Well, I don't remember any dispute or any argument, because my sister was kind of quiet and she didn't say a whole lot. And if she was mad, most of the time you didn't know a whole lot if she was mad or not. Sometimes she would, maybe some of the other kids, Joe or Mickey or Clayton might remember maybe some of the incident that might have happened that I don't remember. But I don't remember sometime, and most of the time she might get upset a little bit, but she only say a few words about it, and and that was it. I don't remember them ever having an argument whatsoever. They might have, but I don't remember anything about it. So they always had a good relationship so far as I was concerned. And I don't remember any bad relationship. Maybe somebody else that was around them more than I was, maybe could say something that they know that I didn't encounter. So that was it. All the time I go back a little bit, because a lot of we miss maybe a little bit about the fact that between the time that I first met my sister and the time that I grew up, when I grew up around her later on. But when I first met her, and after we left, I left Campty at I don't remember when, but anyway, there. And my mother went back to, I think we were living in Alexandria at the time. So I went back to Alexandria and we stayed there for maybe about a year or so. And then we moved to Houston where my auntie, my auntie, Aunt Liza lived in Houston. And we stayed there for a couple of years. And then after that, back in 1947, we moved to Colfax, and Colfax, and then I stayed there, and I would, every summer, I would always, at that time, they were living on a plantation that was operated by the Gallons. That's what they were, the Gallon family. And they owned all the, practically all the land around there. And we worked sharecrop at that time. And we all went to school. We had a house on that land, and we all went to school there at Raven Camp's school. That was the name of the school.
You said it's called Raven Camps?
Raven Camp, yeah.
And what was the name of the plantation?
Gallon.
Gallien.
Gallien.
I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. You know.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just trying to make sure I caught those names.
Yeah, well, there we stayed there. My sister and her husband stayed there. James stayed there. Oh, okay. I don't remember exactly when they finally, but anyway, my mother and I lived in a little town called Colfax there. That's where we were living in the town part. Colfax was the same was the same as where my sister and her husband lived, but I lived in what they call the little town part there. So my mother stayed there. She did housework, and that's where I went to school at. From say about, I guess I was about third or fourth grade or something like that, until I graduated from high school. But every summer and during the summer and during it all the time that I would always spend time with my sister and the family with the rest of the kids. So she practically hardly raised me because matter of fact, I went to school there and we went to school in Raven Camp, but then that was about, I'm saying maybe 2 miles from where we lived. We had to walk to school every morning and back and forth to school every morning. And that's where we all the kids, I don't know, I think Mickey, Boy, I don't know if Joe went to school there or not. I know sister went to school there. Thank Mickey's.
Who is sister?
Tell
Edna, that was my mother.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Edna.
Don't know who sister is?
Well, I assumed it was Edna, but I gotta be sure. You know, I'm a couple of generations down.
Yeah, what's this?
Verify.
Yeah. So that's well, we called her sister. Her real name was Edna Mae.
Yeah, it was Edna. She was the second born. I got another slide with the kids, with all the children's names and the birth dates, because they were all about 2 years apart. And I remember staying on the farm as well that Sonny is talking about, so Gallon, and they used to operate a milk dairy. So the boys, like, were basically Clayton and Willie and And I think Joe and Clayton and all were gone. Joe and Mickey rather were gone at that time. But used to milk the cows in the morning and then had to milk them in the afternoon. Um, you know, uh, Daddy, we call him Daddy or Fioti. uh, he did a lot of the work, farm work, making cross tires, cutting pulpwood, cleaning right of ways, all of those kind of things. When you're talking about living on a farm, and did sharecropping. Sharecropping is when you would raise, plant cotton, and you have to pick it, or chop it as we say, and then and at the end of the year you'll settle out. And a lot of times people at that time would buy food or whatever on credit from the store that was on the property, usually owned by the property owner as well, and so they just go and get it in on credit. And then at the end of the year, like I said, when the crop was over, they'd settle up. So he did, so he did a lot of that kind of work, and obviously the kids would chime in. I agree with Sonny. Those the older kids did go to Raven Camp. I guess Dorothy maybe been the first one that probably went to Colfax. Because Sonny and Uncle and Grandma Susie, they lived in what we call the town. We lived in the country, and we end up going to town sometime. Um, but yeah, they married on December 27, 1928, and then Bo was the first child. We call him Bo. His name was Ezra. So he was born on September 6, 1929. So he and I were born, got the same month and monthday, September 6. And then I don't know if you can see the screen or not, but it got the
We
name
can see it.
when we were born and when we died. Bo died in 1993. Then Edna, we like to say, call her sister. She was born June 14, 1931, and she died September 21st, 1997. Then we had James, we call him Mojo, now we call him Joe, but he was James Lee Brown Jr. He is James Lee Brown Jr. rather. He's born on February 22nd, 1933.
Mojo.
And then Edwin, who we call Mickey, uh, he's born on September 4th, 1935. So Mickey and Nay, Cynthia, were born on the same date, share the same date. And then there was Ewer, a Bowie, and Bowie died mysteriously. We used to think that somebody maybe, he was in Shreveport, and something to think that someone had put something in his drink or something like that. But anyhow, he had some mental illness after that, and then he was put into a mental home in Pineville, and he died there. But he was born December 8, 1937. Don't remember the date yet that he died, so we have to fill in that information. And then Rosie, our grandmother, was born on August. A mother for some of you was August 19th, 1940, and then she died on November 9th, 1995. And Clayton, call him Clay now, August 27, 1942. So you can see the 2 years difference, right?
Mm-hmm,
So the ages. And then Dorothy, August 13, 1944. And then there was a baby girl that was born in 1947 that lived about 3 days from the notes that I see. Don't know if they had given her a name or anything, but she lived about 3 days. And then Willa was born May 21st, 1946. He died May 14, 2010. And then John and I were roommates for a while. John was born June 21st, 1953. And I know he died, it was 1970, 1976?
76. Yeah, I remember being 9.
Yeah, 1976.
Whenever I was 9 years old is when he passed away.
Don't remember what month, what month it was, but you're right. And then Barbara.
Time of year.
Yeah.
Time of year in the fall.
It was in the fall.
Right.
Yeah, and we think he was murdered. There was an article, and they had a newspaper article for a long time, and I don't know where it is now.
Yeah, he was murdered.
Do you know which newspaper it was?
It was in a Lancaster newspaper, or maybe Dallas.
It could have been Dallas Times Herald or
Times Herald. Yeah. So it might be
Dallas Times Herald, 1976.
Archives, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was on the news, but it definitely would be in the archives.
And then Barbara was born November 21st, 1955.
So from 1929 to 1955, they were having kids. That's a long time.
Yep. Yeah.
And
I'm also
mom's name.
go ahead.
On mom's driver's license, her name was showed as Rosie Mary Jenkins. Rosie Mary, yeah, as her middle name.
Okay.
And they called her Rosie May, though,
So she was called Rosie May, but
her name was Rosie Mary, and a lot of that was because it was like a truncated pronunciation of some of the names. Like instead of calling me Rhonda, Grandma called me Rondi or Ronnie, because it was easier to say than to say Rhonda.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to hop off, but let me run through a few more, and then so I can and then you have this Jamie, so you can maybe show it from your phone. This picture here was taken in July 1962, and I know Fiend is in there, but I don't know who else is in there. So maybe y'all can recognize some of the people in here, later on. But that was 1962, so that's a long time. I think that's Fiend right there, and it looked like maybe Carrie standing next to her.
Wow.
I'm really sure. But that's one picture. And then the next one is, that's Fiend in the middle there. This is Joe, that must be Mickey, and I'm not sure who he's holding. And not sure, I think one of these are Rose and one of Dorothy, I believe. And maybe Willie and John, I think.
Oh wow, I was wondering who all the kids was.
Yeah, but I don't know who this is that Mickey is holding.
Maybe it is you.
Unless that's John. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm in there or not. I didn't think I was ever that ugly.
That's it.
But I don't know.
Do you have any baby pictures?
No, not to my knowledge. And then this picture here, I think this is Fiend and Grandma Susie here. I don't know where that is. I don't know whether Sonny may know where this might have been. But this have to be in Colfax. And this might have been at their house, and was it 908 Church Street? I think. What's that address? I believe.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
908 Church Street.
I think that was the name of it. And that might be where that is, but that's Fiend and Susie there. And then this was at a wedding.
That's your wedding, ain't it?
Yeah, this was in April 1977. So that's the only picture I've seen that we have the three of them. But this is Edna, that's sister. That's Grandma Susan. That's Fiend. That's Vivian, Bo, me, and Roberta.
Is that Charles? Or Lewis? That's Bo. No, I'm standing next to Bo. Is that Charles? That's Odell.
That's me. That's me.
Oh,
That was at the wedding.
Hey.
And then this picture here, it's me and Fiend. I think this must be Pat. I think that's Pat. This Peaches
Peaches,
and that's that's Dorothy, Fiend, Rosie, Rhonda,
that's Uncle Jeff.
and Jeff. And I wasn't sure that, but that's Fiend there too.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
her.
Normandy Woods?
I think that's Norman the Woods.
I remember that great O.
And then this is Fiend,
Yeah.
and that's Fiend and Dorothy. And this is Sister Fiend, Dorothy, Daryl, John, and this must be Rhonda.
It
Yeah.
That's
looked like
me.
it.
Yeah. I went to Chicago with them that year.
Okay. And this is Fiend. This is Lewis, and this is Charles. These are Bo's kids.
Yeah, I don't even know who they are. Lewis
Okay.
and
I'm
Charles.
Mhm. And then this one, we've had many laughs about this one. With that. you know who these little gangsters are right here. Mhm.
That's a good one right there.
I need that picture. I'm gonna have to print that one out.
Mhm. And then with these, Dorothy sent me these this morning. These were the programs, the front page of the programs. Bo, Rosie, sister, and Willie. And I got one of John somewhere.
And Odell started the tradition of printing out family, the obituaries in color with the narratives about the individuals.
Yeah, we need that.
And then this was the big family reunion back in 2006.
I remember that. That was a good one.
I'm on there.
Yeah.
I think on the front. I think I'm near the front row somewhere.
Yeah, that was a good one.
In there somewhere.
Was that our biggest one?
Yeah, that was the biggest one.
Yeah, I was in school. I remember that.
So I got to run, but y'all, definitely y'all, and Barbara sent a note to say hi to everybody. They just moved, getting travel. So I think they do have internet this morning, but I don't know whether they got was prepared for the Zoom call. So, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was good.
All right.
So for the people,
and I can.
Oh, go ahead.
And I can send it to everybody later on tonight so you can have it.
Okay.
Odell, it's good seeing you.
Good seeing you. Y'all take care of yourself now. Be safe.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
So for the people who are still on here, one of the questions I wanted to ask, me, Jessica, Tony, I'm calling everybody out because I ain't getting in trouble by myself, had a conversation about how mothers are different from grandmothers.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna do it right now. If I go down, everybody going down.
What you talking about?
Yeah, what we talked about?
We talked about how people of mama
Remember, we gangsters
from when they are grandmamas.
Yes. Oh,
So,
definitely.
I wanted to ask if Grandma Mauphene was different, like as a mother.
Oh, that's okay. That's safe.
As a mother figure than she was as a grandmother. So for people who are grandchildren, how was she as a grandmother?
like a mama.
So she was strict.
Yep.
What was it like? What are your memories of how she was with y'all as a grandmother?
The one that was chewing.
You still had rules. You didn't get away from no rules. You didn't get away from no switch. I mean, she raised us like she raised them.
Granny was patient. She was patient. She was very nurturing. She was, I don't want to make it seem like a storybook grandmother, but that's kind of what she was. You know, she knew when you needed to be whooped, and then right after she whooped you, if it was a good one, especially with a switch, she'd tell you, go get the cocoa butter and come on over here.
Oh.
And she'd rub you down and talk to you and make you understand what had just happened. You know, she would talk about you, like I remember sitting on her lap and she would tell me about when I was gonna grow up. And I thought that everything she said was gonna happen. I just thought she knew everything. But she would tell me that I was gonna get married and I was gonna have some kids and I needed to know how to make coffee and all that, because that's what she always wanted. Was in the middle of the day, it didn't matter when, she just wanted her coffee.
Did she? Okay, so I remember the Folgers coffee cans that she put her tobacco in. But did she drink Folgers? Was that her coffee of choice?
Yes.
Yeah.
She started off with Maxwell, good to the last drop. To Folgers.
But
I just remember Folgers.
Folgers, yeah. Folgers.
Maxwell would probably be a second choice if she didn't have that Folgers. But Folgers, to my understanding, was the choice.
Yeah.
That was before y'all time.
Remember, the baby.
Remember,
he the baby talking about before our time.
I mean, remember I was sent to live with her before y'all moved to Dallas.
I know. But she always did coffee from Louisiana to, Dallas.
So the great debate.
That's all he remember, Rhonda. That's all he remember.
Yeah. And then so Mama.
That's his memory.
I remember being 4 years old and convincing them to allow me to serve the coffee. That way I didn't have to go outside with the other kids. And then as my reward, they gave me about 1/8 of a cup of the coffee, and I thought that was so good.
And that's why you like coffee to this day.
It could be.
I never got into the coffee. I never tried. Well, I tried it with grandmama and I hated it. She drank coffee and tea and she let me have, it was a French vanilla coffee sample at the grocery store. And she's like, you want some? And I was like, yeah, because I looked up to everything that she did. And I had that and it was disgusting.
Yeah, she got me drinking it. She would call me and the kids over. I made a fresh pot of coffee. So I go over and drink it with her.
Okay. Well, I got all my questions answered. I think I wanted, I wanted to ask some questions about lifestyle. So like Uncle Jeff, you brought up that y'all kept time with the TV shows. Did she have favorite, what do y'all remember anything about her favorite shows or favorite songs, anything like that?
Wrestling.
She used to love
wrestling.
What's wrestling?
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
Oh, wrestling.
WWF.
Yeah, she made you whoever was
and,
there.
Gunsmoke. She liked Fiesta.
Yeah. Yep.
Fiona,
and
whatever
Price
his
is
name
Right.
was.
Me and her had plans to go to Price is Right together and win. Those two. I didn't like watching wrestling, but
that's what she liked.
That's what she liked.
That's so random. Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never. That's just so random.
If she were here today, she would like the Housewives.
I know why she like wrestling. I ain't gonna tell that though.
She was
Why
serious
she
about
like
it.
wrestling?
She get real excited.
She uses sometimes.
Can I ask a question?
Oh,
Yes.
go ahead, baby.
Which gender? Watching the ladies wrestle. Was her favorite the ladies wrestling or the men?
Oh, now she liked them Barneris. There
Yeah.
was a men, she was Grandma was pretty tough.
But she didn't. Yeah, she didn't match. It didn't matter. But I bet you, if she was here today, she would watch the house. Anything with fighting on it, she pretty much liked. Because they had the roller derby. Them girls be fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So she would be watching The Housewives today if she was here.
Oh, yeah. We'll be looking at that together.
And roller
Yeah.
derby on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roller derby. That's funny. What about music?
Not really.
Not really into music.
He would.
Oh, well, she like the blues, all the blues. That's what she loved.
Oh, the blues?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, all the blues. The honky, well, at
honky
that
tonk,
time they
you
used to call it a honky tonk. Honky tonk.
Uh-oh.
Huckatuck.
Honky tonk.
Honky tonk, that's what they used to call it back then.
Yeah.
Honky tonk.
I'm going up. I'm going down. I'm going up and down and round and town and any way you like. Let it groove. That was the one, right?
Did you ever see her dance, Uncle Sonny?
Yeah.
Did you ever see my grandmother dance?
Oh yeah, I used to see them dance. You know, they were used to drink their wine and they dance, get up and dance. You know, it was like more like a waltz than it was a dance.
Oh, waltz.
Yeah.
Her and James Brown.
Huh?
She and James Brown.
Yeah.
There's
I say.
there's
I
the story.
All
They
right.
loved to party and enjoyed each other, dancing.
Mhm.
So they would drink wine and dance. So this the past life.
That means they would have won on that dance. What's that dance?
Dance
So you think you can dance?
Dancing with the
Mhm.
Stars.
Oh, Dancing with
Yeah.
the Stars.
What Tony and Jessica doing?
I don't know. If they together,
They're not paying. They're not participating. They
yes,
get
they're
a
not
help.
paying attention. When we played school, this would not be appropriate.
We're bringing up our aunties over here. We are being good niece and nephew.
We're trying to get you the history that you desire.
We're trying to get Aunt Barbara and Aunt Dorothy to download their Zoom. We've been working on this for a long time.
Diligent.
Oh,
We on what you call troubleshoot.
troubleshoot.
Oh, they doing tech support.
Yes. You know,
Imagine my son, Mr. Tech Support. I'm proud of him.
important people to be.
And
It don't look like they're doing no tech support.
Well, she did send me a text saying she needed Tony's technical expertise to get her hooked up to the internet.
oh, that was fun.
Oh, that's too funny.
He say, "Do she know me?"
Let me tell you about your grandmother and me.
Oh,
Okay.
please do.
We had to go and see about Grandma Susie because she was sick.
Mhm.
She didn't know how to properly take her medicine because she couldn't read either. And she would take all the pills at one time. And of course, it had many side effects.
Ooh.
And she was lightheaded a lot. So your great uncle Bo, he called to inform us that she was sick and she wouldn't let him take care of her. So we went down there and we met Mauphene. Mauphene was living in Shreveport at the time.
Mhm.
She came, and while we were there, that's, once the doctors figured out what was wrong, well, naturally, she was back to her old self. I'm not even called the name she used to call me because she would get so tickled. I'm talking about Grandma Susie. And call me one of those names. And call me
Now, I
one
want to know the name. What'd she say?
you jackass. Because I would be doing something and I didn't understand what she wanted me to do. And she said, baby. And she said, you just as Amish as you can be because I'm too busy moving fast. And I didn't know what she meant by Amish, but I was just as fast as I could be,
Yeah, right.
And she would get a kick out of it and then call me a little jackass. So the juicy part was when she and Cousin Ida, I don't know if Cousin Ida was her first cousin or second cousin, and Cousin Ida didn't live far from her. So she would come over and you talking about the juicy gossip that would be going on. They're sitting there talking and your grandma Mauphene and I, we're so engrossed in eating our watermelon. We're sitting there. That was before she bought a trailer to hitch onto her house so it could be a large kitchen. She had like a shotgun palace with the little small kitchen that was combined with the living room. So Mauphene and I, we got real quiet and all we were doing just pretending like we were eating that watermelon. And, oh know that we laughed so much. You know how you have a silent laugh?
Yeah.
It was a silent laugh. She would look at me and I would look at her because the stories that they were swapping was X-rated. So now Mauphene was a grandmother then. She was a great grandmother then, but it was like she was a child sitting there listening to her mother and another older person along with me, ear hustling. That's exactly what we were doing.
Ear hustling.
And that was so much fun.
Wow.
We enjoyed ourselves.
Man, what if reality TV was out there?
Yeah, even when
year was
Mauphene
that?
would tell me some history, she would tell me, come here. And I said, what? Come here, I got something to tell you. And so we would go and hide off, and then she would give me history. Some of the history about Sonny when he was a little baby and Susie, and it was just exciting to me. Because
What year was that?
otherwise I wouldn't have known.
Right.
I guess that's why he's my cousin now.
Oh, well, did you said one time that we were
Uncle Jeff
related to
asked
some
what
true
year was that?
stories.
That was, darn it, they were living in Shreveport. She and Bobby and Tony was living in Shreveport when she told me.
78.
Early
When
70s.
she told me a lot
78.
then. And before that, oh God, she came up to Chicago. Yeah, it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was
remember.
mid 70s. And she
Okay.
was telling me some things. And then in the latter part of the 70s, when they were living in Shreveport, not far from where Lewis and Marilyn, his wife, where they lived far from each other.
Okay.
And I think her bedroom was right across from Bobby's. She kept me up all night long talking. She was telling me some things, and right now I said, God, why couldn't I stay awake? Because she was telling me something that was important that I needed to know.
Right.
But I do remember that. I remember that, and she was, tell me about James, your grandfather, great grandfather, James Brown. She was telling me about him, and then it made me reflect on when I first met them. I remember the look she gave James. She gave him a look, and it's as though they read each other's mind. And we were sitting out on the porch. It was a huge porch, one of those porches that's high from the ground. You can see underneath the porch. And I was sitting there swinging my legs on the porch, and she was sitting, and they had like a little part of a banister. She was sitting back with his shoes off. He had his shoes off, and both had their feet resting on that little banister. You all stayed, Rhonda and Jeff and all of you all stayed, like I said, to the right of where your grandparents stayed. And I never did go to you all's house, but I remember that's where Rosie came from and back over to the side with Jeffrey. And of course, Jeffrey was crying. I had a picture of him. I think he was maybe 3 years old, standing there by his mom crying. But getting back to your grandmother, she gave him that certain look, gave your James that certain look, and he knew what she meant. And I'm looking, he got up and he went in the back, around the back of the house, came back with a watermelon that they had raised. So I'm assuming they must have had a vegetable garden in back and had the watermelon. And he came and he set that watermelon on the porch. And that's my first experience in seeing a yellow meat watermelon.
Oh,
and they sliced it, and then Rosie, we went in the kitchen, because when he brought it, Rosie knew to get up immediately, and she took me with her. There was a huge, like a country kitchen, one of those type of kitchens. It was big, and we went in the kitchen. She got the knife, and then brought it back, handed it to her father, and then he cut that watermelon. We sat there on that porch, and they were sitting in the chairs like the grown-ups, even though Rosie and I were grown, but we sat on the floor of the porch with our legs swinging, dingling like children, eating our watermelon. That was a fun memory. And that was the first and last time that I saw him.
Do you remember telling us about some Broussards that we might be related to?
The Broussards are from Houston. That's Grandma Susie's youngest sister, Eliza. She had 10 children.
No, she had 13.
13? I knew 10.
She had 16 kids.
It was 16?
Yeah, she
Oh,
had
I just knew the
16
10.
She had 16 kids.
Wow.
And
Lord.
she stayed out in the suburban area. On those subdivisions, Aunt Liza did. But Uncle Mac stayed right, what was that, in Ward 3? Was that Ward 3?
Fifth Ward,
The
yeah.
Fifth Ward? In Houston? Yes. In Houston. And they stayed there. That's where all the older houses were. And they had well, I can't remember all of the names, but I remember Jackie, Sister, Dopey. I never did know, what was his real name?
Marvin, that's what
Marvin.
it is.
Okay, Dopey. He reminded me of Fred Sanford.
Wow.
He had bad feet, and he would walk like Fred Sanford. I remember that much about him. And then there was the one that passed away after oh God, I had pictures of all of them. What's the other one named after Dopey?
I know
What's
all
his
of them name, because that was, it was sister, he was out there. I know all of them, their name. Yeah.
But the ones that I knew.
Well, Pappy, what we call
Pappy,
him
that's
Pappy.
who I'm thinking about,
We call
Pappy.
him Pappy, that's what we call him, Pappy. And like I say, Marvin, and Molly, we call her Molly.
Molly.
And,
Her real name was Lucille.
Yeah, and Mary.
Yeah.
And Poonie, the one called Poonie.
Right.
Yeah. And all those, but it's like I say, all of them, but it's all
Eva.
All of them is, yeah, evil. That's they all saying it's maybe about five of them still living now.
Out of 16?
Yeah, but yeah, out of 16, I think it's about five or six of them still living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I worked with a Broussard whose family was from Louisiana, but I didn't know enough to ask questions about how, his how he was related and stuff like that.
There's a lot of different families of the Broussards that live in Texas, and most of them migrated from Louisiana. The organization that I'm in, when we go to conventions, I met a lot of Broussards, and I used to ask them, did they know? And I would name the Broussards, but of course they didn't know them. And I was telling them my in-laws. But the Broussards remind me of my family. My family, the Spikes are wild, and I used to have so much fun. I said, it's just like I'm in Chicago when I would go to Houston. I said, because you all remind me of those, I would call my family, you remind me of those Spikes, because they would tell the stories about when they were coming up, and how when they would get into a gang fight, it wouldn't really be a gang fight. It was just, you didn't bother with the Broussards. You hit one, then you had to fight them all. And then they were telling me how Dopey had ran and got the shotgun and accidentally shot, I don't know if it was their dog or somebody else's dog, just to scare the other family that they were fighting. And they
sound like you got Barbara now.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, she got
Barbara trying to talk from the speaker.
I don't think she got it. No, not on there, on here.
Oh.
Okay, wait a minute. She just hung up.
Oh, see now.
I think she got a call. She's on another call now. Because I heard it vibrating.
But Aunt Eliza was more like your grandma Mauphene. She would sit and not say a lot, but the kids would talk. And they would sit and listen. She would sit and listen to them swapping stories. But she wasn't one to talk an awful lot. And they would have gumbo and fish fry parties.
They still have a crawfish party in Houston is it May, around Memorial Day?
Yeah, in April or May, one of those.
Yeah, because we've gone and they have a huge crawfish party, crawfish boil around May.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's really good.
And their fun was playing Pekino for pennies. Like your Uncle Willie and Mickey and all them play dominoes. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, the Broussards were into Pekino.
What's Pekino?
it's like poker, but it's like a bingo game where you use the cards and you have the board, and as you call off the cards, you kind of put your
chip
marking
like,
or your chip on that number on the board. It's almost like bingo, but it's with cards, and it's the concept is sort of like poker, because you can get the royal flush, the 2 of a kind, 4 of a kind, things like that. So it made it a little bit more interesting, because as people will win with for Keno, with the numbers being in line, you also get bonus money, because you would get like 2 of a kind, 4, and some of them were harder to get. So every round the pot would get bigger in some, and the other ones would be gone.
Mm-hmm. And that was the only difference. Otherwise, they had a lot in common with the Brown family. Mm-hmm. The Broussards, they loved gathering and having a party, but most importantly, they loved to go around Aunt Eliza, their mother. And if they weren't around, Aunt Eliza would tell someone, get on the phone, tell them to come. Your grandmother did the same thing. She would always say, where them boys at? Because she it wasn't complete unless all the children and grandchildren were somewhere near her. And they just, the party was on. It wasn't like, like wow, it was just the family laughing and talking and just enjoying each other.
That makes a lot of sense. Tony, did y'all grab her again?
Yeah, she's back on. Can y'all hear?
Well, Aunt Barbara has to talk.
Let's see if we can hear her.
Hear me?
Go ahead, Aunt Barbara.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I was just suggesting if you could ask her some of the questions that you asked earlier. Her and Aunt Dorothy are both there.
Oh, okay. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Well, some of the questions we asked earlier on was, number one, did y'all hear Grandma Mauphene ever talk about her childhood or any of her childhood memories?
Where? Who are you trying to show?
No, not really. I don't. You remember her talking about any of her childhood? No, not really.
Okay. And then the next question was, what was your earliest memory of Grandma Mauphene?
My earliest memory?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Gotta think back.
I guess.
This is a half-hour show.
When I was a baby. I was a baby. I can remember her combing my hair, sending me to school because I hated the way she combed my hair.
What did she do?
There was a big part in the top and 2 little ones on each side. You know how you do the three braids?
Uh-huh.
Always make the top real big, and I hated that. And the worst memory is when I went to school. We was having school pictures. I can't forget this. I'll never forget it. She did my hair like that, the big braid in the top and the 2 little ones on the side, and she stuck a white Christmas on the top. And I was so embarrassed, and I had to go to school like that to take my pictures. So that's why I don't have any baby pictures of me, because I tore them all up. I destroyed it better back then. They were just ugly and to me, and I destroyed them all.
Oh no!
What about Aunt Dorothy? Her earliest?
There are no baby pictures that I know of in the family.
Oh man!
What about Aunt Dorothy's earliest memories?
Well, I guess it would be back to the hair again. She liked the page boards, and I didn't like it at all. And she was always trying to get me to wear my hair in a page board.
A page board.
What's a page board?
Well, just hang it down and turn it under.
Oh.
Back in the day,
What, you doing what now?
Turning your hair under and turn it
under.
Have it flipped out.
Oh, like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like what?
That's the style back then, but yeah, it was ugly.
Oh, this.
The mushroom.
Mushroom, yeah.
Oh, mushroom.
He picked my favorite where I went. Could go anywhere without nobody on my hip. and now it's the other way around. I know damn well that car without her being in there. I almost left her one day, and I'll never do that again. But her leg was hurting, so I just got in the car and started. When she texted me, "You leaving me?"
Have some stories now.
So I had to wait for her to get dressed and come out. And I don't even know where we were going, but it wasn't really nowhere. Probably just down the street back, but I had to wait. So yeah, it's just the opposite now.
Next question.
And I got my phone plugged up, but the battery is low. So if I disappear, it's because of my I don't have much of a charge. I have it plugged up.
Okay. The other question we asked was about her and Grandpa James and what their relationship was like. So what memories you have about them? Like, were they lovey-dovey? Were they, you know, standard partnership? Like, what memories do you have about how they were together?
For me, I think it was a normal relationship. You know, they had their ups and downs, their arguments. She would always win.
Mm-hmm.
But, when she would get the best of him every time, and he would look at whatever kid that was, you know, present at the time, I guess for him, or to see who you was agreeing with. I don't know why, but he would always look to whoever was around as if he was, I don't know, asking, take my side or talk to her or, you know, but he would just get so frustrated and he would leave it alone.
Oh man, that's
but,
good.
But they
that explains a lot.
They get along.
It does explain a
For the
whole
women.
lot.
Yeah. That explains our
move a lot. She used to like to move a lot, and I brought that up because I remember when we left county and moved to Natchitoches, we moved to some apartments, and of course you have the parking lot and you have the concrete sidewalk, and then there was an apartment behind us. There was one on the side of us, and he had shortly just recently bought a truck, and that was a big mistake because she loved to move and she had all those boys. And this last time she wanted to move and he really didn't want her to move. It took him a while. So he and Bo went to work one day. And I don't know if she did it for that reason, because when she got ready to move, she was just ready to move. She didn't want no excuses or problems or obstacles or nothing in her way. She was going to move. So she went and moved to Natchitoches while he was at work. And when him and Bo got home from work, that house was empty. And she basically gave him an option to stay or go, but it wasn't anything in the house if he had decided to stay. So he had no choice but to move to the apartment. And he was fussing. You know, because he was used to the country. He wasn't used to a town, which was a small town. And he didn't like driving, you know, in traffic or anything of that nature. And he was just complaining. And he was like, where am I going to put my garden? All this concrete. So he couldn't have a garden. He couldn't have his chickens.
Right.
And we just had to get used to him, a whole new way of life. That thing comes up. I did get that one fixed.
I would be upset.
Yeah, because you got garden.
I couldn't have my garden and my chickens.
Right.
Now I got to move to the city.
That's me and Jessica split. Country mouse, city mouse, right there. I be wanting to go.
I don't be wanting to go.
Oh, that's funny.
Followed her wherever she went. He followed her, so they got along fine. They had a good relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I'm starting to hear a pattern in regards to headstrong women, because Grandma Susie's story, and now I'm hearing Grandma Mauphene was also a very headstrong woman. So now I can rightfully claim the way that I am.
Yeah.
It's in my blood to be this way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Dorothy, what you remember?
Huh?
Oh, let me see.
Eating ice cream.
Huh?
Eating ice cream.
Like Bob said, whenever they had an argument, we would just give up, just walk away and forget about it. But I remember every Sunday morning they used to have an argument.
Hey, Dorothy the phone so we can hear it clear.
And Barbara, can you pass Aunt Dorothy the phone so they can hear you?
Like I say, I haven't.
I think she said it's plugged up.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Her battery's running low. She had it plugged in.
Okay.
Okay. We hear you now.
She was saying they had an argument every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
They had a little argument, and he would get tired of fussing, and he would just hush. It'll be over with. We would get ready to go to church.
That's Sunday.
What were they arguing about?
They both were quiet like we all are, so it's that run in the family. Until they get to you guys.
Not to who?
Y'all.
The middle generation.
They supposed to be y'all.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do you know what they were arguing about?
I can't remember. It was nothing important. It was just some little
Chickens he couldn't have in the city.
But they were very strict too, so. Whenever somebody had to come along and chaperone. And they didn't let us stay out too late. They would wait up until we got inside.
Yeah.
And they were very strict.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because I thought Mama was strict. Tell me what y'all kind of strict was. I want to know.
You couldn't do nothing. You couldn't do nothing, and you couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't even go to my senior prom.
What? But she wasn't that strict. At least we got to go to our senior prom.
She the one who said, don't be too strict on kids because they're going to end up doing what they want to do if you're too strict. That's what she told me.
Well, that was for her kids. We was the grandkids.
Y'all was the grandkids. We said mamas be changing when they become grandmamas. They did.
They love their grandkids more than they ever loved their kids, and I don't care what anybody say. They do.
Yeah. Jonathan, you can go there every time you want.
Mother was, I didn't move out until I was 25, and when I planned to move out, she was planning to go too. One of my coworkers and I was roommates. We went to rent an apartment together. We got the apartment. I was getting ready to move, and I looked around. She was packing up her stuff too. 25 years old.
How did we all get to Normandy Woods? 'Cause that's my earliest memory of everybody together, and that's when I knew I was in a big old family. I thought that was normal, and that's what people did. That families were all together like that. Until I grew up and realized we were.
That James Brown, yeah. I mean, that was them, and that's how they saw it. That's how they wanted it. And that, I guess that's why we are all so close, and one look out for the other, and just one great big family. If she would have been like the little old lady in the shoe, if she could have had built a house big enough, and all of her children lived in it, and all the grandkids. Didn't matter how old or how grown. But that's what she would have wanted if she had her choice and her say.
Huh. That's so interesting.
Yeah, huh?
It's kind of like the family compound idea.
Yeah, Jessica
Yeah,
wants to
Jessica trying to jail us all. Talking about she gonna get some land and everybody gonna stay on it, and she gonna have a farm. She wanna take us back to James Brown days.
All right.
Everybody gonna stay on this one property.
You have your own house?
I'm with Jessica.
Yeah. You want all of us to pitch in and go buy like, I don't know,
100
maybe 200, 300, 400 acres, and everybody stay on it.
That'd be that's a town right there.
Yeah.
You don't have to be right.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's enough of us to do it.
And we have to leave, like, we would have to go far out from the city, but you can do that.
Not necessarily, not that far, because I remember when I first started.
I saw 300 acres she can come on and buy. We can get started. Jeff can break ground.
That's Miss Action right there. That's to get it done. Don't talk about it. Let's get it done, right?
Oh man. Well, what were y'all? So she passed in what year?
92.
92. I was in the 2nd grade. How old was she?
About 80, right?
She was 80.
She was born in 1908, and she passed in 92.
She was 82.
Yeah, 82.
We'll have to go back to math class. It's taking too long.
I got a calculator right here.
Like 1908, 92. It seemed like there should be a 4 somewhere.
Yeah.
You think
84?
84?
Okay, Jamie, 84.
How did she pass? Like, was it just old age? What happened?
She was sick. She ended up having a stroke. She had a heart attack, then she had a stroke. Bobby was right there with her.
Yeah.
Yep, it was. Jeff. Yep, I was standing right there watching it all. Because I worked at Parkland. Mm-hmm. And when she, what do you call it? When she, what do you call it when you stop breathing?
Cardiac arrest.
She went into cardiac arrest?
Yeah, cardiac arrest, and I was at work.
Can they see you?
Apparently, because I had my lab jacket on, and I remember when they wheeled her in the she made some kind of weird sound, and that got the doctor's attention, and they brought over the thing that they crack open and put it at your nose to see if you're breathing or if it would bring you back if you're unconscious. And she didn't respond. So, so they started saying cold blue, and all the doctors that was back there in emergency put her in a trauma room, and they started performing
CPR.
With those things that they use.
Paddles.
And so they started getting ready to do it, and one of the doctors just happened to glance over his shoulders, saw me standing there, and I had been there so many times, plus I had a jacket on. They wouldn't have noticed it, but he noticed me, and he said, "That's her daughter, get her out of here." And I remember, and I just took off running, and I ran down the hall, and the first payphone I saw, I called Odell, but I couldn't hardly talk for crying. And so he was trying to calm me down. And actually, I know Mickey was in the waiting room, probably Willie and Clayton too, was in the emergency waiting room. So it took them a minute to get the news.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Odell was at home because instead of me running out there to them, for whatever reason, I just lost it and started running. And like I say, called Odell and talked to him. And I don't remember what happened from that, but yeah, I was there when she took her last breath.
Yeah, that was the same thing that I did with Mama.
Yeah, right, with Rosie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know why, but I just called Odell first. I dialed 911 first and then called Odell. Why, I don't know.
Right.
He was at the office.
I don't know.
Yeah, he would know.
I don't know. It's just like the other brothers. They were out in the waiting area, waiting to hear something, and I don't know why I took off running down the hallway instead of running out there in the waiting room.
Yeah, that's like a really traumatic experience. So at that point, logic is not what's wrong.
Yeah, you just lose it. You don't be in your right mind of thinking.
Yeah.
What would y'all say what parts of her live on that you see in other family members? What things did other family members do that remind you that came from her?
I think our whole family is just a collection of good people. And I think all of that came from both of them, Granny and Granddad. They were just good people. And I think
they told us to be that way. You know, you treat somebody the way you want to be treated, and be careful what you do or how you treat somebody, because that's the very person you're going to have to call on one day. She would always say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just something through all of us we picked up on. It was just our upbringing and the fact that they were our parents. So it's DNA.
And the love of family.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't matter
what you go through. Because we weren't even allowed to fight.
Yeah.
Or argue.
Yeah. We
get in an argument and she'll make you shut it up.
Yeah.
We were.
No, we wasn't.
You probably didn't see most of it or hear most.
Yeah. No, she didn't.
She found
she
out.
Didn't see that.
She
found out after we was wrong.
But I do see sometimes. So like my grandmother, she don't like living by herself, being by herself. I don't like being by myself in the house. I've never lived alone.
Sure don't.
At all. Not as a single adult.
The whole amen section.
What did he say? I missed that one. But
down. I got a room. Jamie got a room. Jeff got a room.
Jonathan got a room.
I got coats and blankets still over there. When I come, I got a heated blanket waiting on me over there.
Right. And sometimes though, what reminds me of, I remember Grandma and Aunt Barbara being in the kitchen. And so they would be arguing over, you got more meat than me. My grandma would wait till the last minute and she get hungry, too hungry, and she start burning up the food. She waited too long to eat. And so sometimes me and Tony would be in the kitchen. So we just decided to make a rule that, okay, if I'm going to cook, let me cook it my way. And then if he cooking, let him cook his way. Although I haven't seen that work yet. But
you got to let him cook. You just let him cook.
Whatever you seen work, let's just make sure that's clear.
Okay, how about the burritos? What did we have last night? The nacho bar.
Mm-hmm.
Any seasoning in the chili, Mama? What you put in there? Okay, Tony, what you want me to put in the chili? Put some in there. And put some black pepper. So that kind of reminds me of Aunt Barbara and grandmother when they lived together.
Yeah, that's my earliest memory is them living together. Because my memory is Normandy Woods and going over there. And so I put that in Facebook. Me and Jessica, we were scared of Grandma Mauphene.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. I'm just scared of her. I mean, I would look at her, but I wouldn't go over there and she would say, ain't nobody gonna hurt you, gal. But I didn't know that for sure. So I didn't go over there unless she made me come over there. And she never hurt me, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I think I went into her room one time. There's that room it had the
yeah.
I remember that room, and I would be scared to go in there. And I think I went in there one time, and that was because Tanisha was like, "It's okay, you can come in here," and I was just kind of like, "I don't know if I should go in there." But yeah, we were scared of her, and I remember the coffee can, the Folgers coffee can. I didn't want to get near it.
Oh, Jessica remember that coffee can.
Who, me?
Uh-huh.
No, I don't.
No, not you. I'm sorry, I'm bad.
That was me.
Demetria.
What she do?
Demetria turned, she thought it was a coat. So she
I remember that.
She was just a little baby. She was a little baby, and she wanted some coats. And Aunt Laura had everybody pick up their coats because Dee was crawling around trying to get the little sodas. And she ended up getting the spit cup. A red folding spit cup. And she turned it up.
Oh, yuck. That's disgusting. Well, I guess to close out, what's the lesson that you took from her that you think that we should hold on to, especially people who didn't know her? So like somebody were to watch this later in our family, what is a lesson that you took from Grandma Mauphene that you think we should all hold on to? And everybody can respond to that.
Oh.
I think family is the most important thing you can possibly have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the lesson that she wanted to hand down from one generation to the next. You do what you have to do to stay in touch, to maintain those relationships. And it doesn't matter what you go through, you still need to be there for each other, period.
And she took anybody in. To her, everybody considered her grandma or mama or whoever met her became family to her.
Yep.
Family values and codes of conduct. That's what I see. Family value and codes of conduct. Conduct yourself at all costs as to show any and everybody, this is mine. They belong to me and I belong to them.
Yeah.
Code of conduct.
Code of conduct. Ain't Dorothy? Uncle Sonny?
She stepped out for a second.
Okay. Uncle Sonny, what was you about to say?
Oh, I you know, if you want to know, it's like I say, what about my sister, her feeling about that, she was always, you know, cared about the family and everything. That's all I can remember. She cared about the family and everything. And so, I mean, I was no different than her kids. I was just like one of her kids. So I remember her being there. And I tell you one thing, two things I can say I remember about her. And I don't know if you can say it's a life-saving thing or not. But the fact is that once when I was about 4 years old, when I went to camping, I didn't know that I was a sick boy, and I didn't know anything about country thing or anything about the fish, about any the animals or anything. So I was out in the yard there, and there was a geese out there, and the geese was out there, and she had some more little geese, and I'm calling myself gonna pick them up, you know, and the geese jumped on me, and my sister came out there. And he had to get the geese off me.
He's gonna eat you up.
Yeah. And the other thing I was already, everybody knows about it from hearsay is the fact that that was, I think me and Clayton was there playing in the yard, and once I always kind of doubt they were kind of a person, so I went under the house and was playing under the house, and when I was under the house,
Yes.
the house must have shifted or something like that, and I got caught under the house. And my neck was under the house and everything, and I couldn't get out. And my sister, and somebody was yelling, and my sister came out and picked up the thing. I don't know how she did it, but she picked it up off me and saved. What I say saved my life. I might have died. I don't know, but anyway, that's the two things I remember about her distinctly for doing for me. You know.
So she saved your life twice.
Twice. Because geese are gangster. Geese are gangster. They are. Like, and I only know that because I was at White Rock one time trying to be Zen, and it was like a gang of like a full-on gang, and I'm thinking they're birds, you know, they gonna be all nice and sweet and stuff. Wrong. Like, I had to roll up, like, get my stuff and move because they were not playing games. So I'm like, oh, I know now you can't mess with them. Hey, Dorothy, Aunt B, what y'all got?
On what? Not to step to the bathroom.
Oh, Lord.
What about you?
It's TMI.
Yeah. But what about you?
You on the Zoom call ain't bunker.
I'm on what?
What's the question, Jay?
The question is, what lesson, what takeaway would you believe for us right now?
What takeaways do you believe that we should have from Grandma Mauphene?
What takeaway?
Like what lessons?
I would say to just honor her legacy and her wishes. You know, is for us to get along and live together happily. You know, one great big happy family that stand strongly united. She believed in that.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a lesson, you know, just be united with each other and love each other and help each other and watch out for each other and just do what we do. We get together, we laugh and we talk and we tease and we have the best of time. And that's what I got from her. You know, that's the life that she and Dad lived, and that's how we were raised.
Well, with that being said, look like we got to go get the Brown estate. We need to go and break Brown. Jessica?
I guess we gotta get the compound.
Come on over here and get these 200 acres, girl.
That would be her honor. And I know several times Tanisha had mentioned that, just a great big, like 90 acres. She said she even had a dream that she had bought 90 acres, and we all lived on that 90 acres. Mm-hmm. But now we're not getting no younger, so y'all need to jump on it.
Oh, I do remember that. One important thing that she said.
All that talent, all the smarts that everybody got in the family. Everybody in the family do some of everything.
There's a builder right there. The land is about 2 miles away from here.
Rhonda,
land everywhere else.
For sale.
Yeah.
Rhonda, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say something that I picked up from her, and I didn't realize this until after I was much older. She talked to me a lot as a kid, and she knew a lot. Like, we would watch the news together and watch TV together, so she knew about current events, and you know, that's where I learned about what propaganda was, and we would always say, you know, when we were watching TV, she didn't want us watching certain programs, but what she was trying to tell us is that the television, they were programming us to think and behave a certain way. And the average person didn't know that, but by the time a lot of people figured it out, it was too late. But she saw a lot of the stuff that's happening today way back then, you know, like the propaganda and how society is influencing our behavior, our spending, our thinking, and all of that stuff. And so I learned to think critically from her, you know, and not just look at, I think that's where a lot of, I know I get that, and I've seen it in Jamie, because she's inquisitive and she asks questions, well, why does it have to be this way? You know, and then I was like that as a kid growing up. Well, who said it had to be this way? Is it this way because people said it, or is this way because everybody believes stuff is supposed to be that way? And so a lot of that is something we picked up just from being around her and listening, you know, to her talk, and the way that she thought, even though she only had what people would consider a second grade education, but she had a lot of intelligence that would have been overlooked by society because she didn't have what they called book sense, but she had, you know, the sense to, or the eye to be able to see beyond what you actually saw.
That's good. So we got strong family values, strong code of conduct, and strong critical thinking coming from her. Well, that's good. This was good, y'all. Thank y'all for being on the call and sharing stories and helping us to keep the history, herstories. This is recorded, so I'll share it back out. I'm trying my best to transcribe them too, but that I've been failing to transcribe, so I'll just share the video. And I'm thinking what I may even do is like put it, I have my own blog, so I might just put it there too.
I can transcribe it.
Oh, Jessica can transcribe. Okay, so Jessica will transcribe, and then I'll share the video so that everybody has access. And then I also have the PowerPoint that Odell did, so I can send that out. If y'all,
or attach it.
Tony came. Tony Brown came at the end of the meeting. Wait a minute.
He's connecting to audio.
Hold on.
Well, wait until we got to close out the meeting.
We about to eat.
Just like black people. We have to be on time for nothing.
The missed offering and everything.
Pass the plate.
He's waiting to the end. Tony.
I'm sneaking in. You know how they cook the chicken and stuff at the end?
Sneaking over here.
Well,
everybody don't hire you out.
I know
since you just coming on the table, then that means you're the one that's getting ready to come and sign off on some property. We said the last person that sign on will be the chosen one.
Well, sign off on what kind of property?
For the Brown Estates.
Yeah.
You need to leave the prayer.
Oh man. Well, welcome, Tony. We were actually just signing off, but since you on here, we'll go ahead and get a couple questions from you. If anybody got to jump, I understand, because we have been on for a couple hours. But if you can stay on, then stay on with us. Tony.
What's up?
What's your earliest memory of Grandma Mauphene?
My earliest memory.
Eating her donuts.
You know, I don't know if it's the earliest one, but one of the funniest ones is when she used to forget that she was cooking. She would always burn something up. We used to have to run in there and sprinkle salt on the fire. And it was all because of the stories. She would be into whatever it was, General Hospital or whatever it was she watched. She would be into it, yelling at the TV until we smell smoke.
Oh, so was her story General Hospital? Who was General Hospital, and who? I know Grandmama was Young and the Restless.
Yeah, we used to have to watch Young and the Restless for her and tell her what happened. Or was that Martha? We used to have to watch Young and the Restless in the summer for somebody and give them a play-by-play when they got off work. I think it was Mama.
It could have been either one.
Yeah, it could have been either one.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Tony do have up close and personal experience with Grandma Mauphene.
Yeah, between her stories and wrestling.
Yep, y'all brought up the wrestling.
Yep.
She like anything with fighting in it.
And she would watch the news too, but the news would just upset her. She'd be the one that tell you to turn it on, but then get mad at it.
She had to watch Donald Trump these days.
Oh.
She probably wouldn't have turned up a TV.
Propaganda, all that propaganda.
Yeah. I just cannot imagine her watching him now fussing. God, get that old fool off of there with his old ugly mouth. And she think that you turn the TV off, that stops everything. She don't know that the world is still turned.
Wait, who did she call a twist mouth puppy?
It was somebody on the news. It was somebody on the news.
Twist mouth puppy.
Y'all making
calling people that. I've never seen such. Oh, what's that, Earl? It may have been Earl because, didn't nobody mistreat her kids.
You tell everybody.
And I say kids because it doesn't matter how old you still hers. And I think that was Earl because, he wasn't nice to Rosie at all. And I think he was that twist mouth puppy. He had made her mad. And I know we'll forget now that first trip that I moved back home from California, he had made her mad. And she had called me, and the last thing I remember her saying that she was going to throw him over that balcony. And I said, okay, it's time for me to go. My mama finna go to jail. So the first time I moved back home, that was why. That was when Rosie lived over there over on Roddington, I think, by Skyline.
Yeah.
Butler. Yeah. She lived over there on the second floor. And he came and moved in. And Mother was always living with somebody. Always. I used to hate that. But she would always move in with somebody until she found a place instead of just waiting until she find a place. If she woke up and she wanted to relocate, it's like, let's go get us a place. And you just walk out there and you just get it. And then you go back home and you get your stuff and you move in. That's how it was with her. So because it didn't work that fast, she would always just, go stay with somebody until she find a place. So she was staying with Rosie. And then Earl moved in. I don't know if he was already in or what, but she didn't like the way he was treating her. So she was getting ready to jump on him.
Yeah, I saw them arms. It looked like she sure could, too.
Oh, yeah. She put you in that neck hole. You wasn't getting out until she let you loose. She was famous for that. She would lock that arm around your neck and you wasn't getting out until she said so.
The wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why she liked wrestling.
She was getting her moves.
I guess that's why she liked wrestling so much.
To learn a move.
I probably think my earliest memory have to be somewhere at the flea house. I don't remember where that was. I just remember it was a bunch of fleas.
Oh, Ewing.
That was on Ewing.
Oh, tell me about the Ewing house. I wanted to know about that.
The only
That
thing
was
I can
two Ewing
remember
houses.
is, two things. I remember you having to crawl. Well, not having to. I love crawling on her back. I don't know why. But I remember one night a dude got hit on a motorcycle out front.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that
I
apartment.
remember that.
House.
I remember.
On that corner.
Do y'all remember the puppy? Our puppy? They got also hit right in front of the house.
Mm-hmm. You cried.
I cried. I cried hard.
That's the baby.
You look sad now. You look like
You gonna cry all over again.
You don't mess with Jeff and his dogs.
Oh, no. I remember one of the worst whoopings I got was right there at that Ewan house when I ran in the street. And it was during the family reunion.
You hold on. You got a whooping for running in the street, or you got a whooping and then ran in the street?
No, I got a whooping for running in the street. We were playing tag or something. I don't know what it was, but we were chasing each other. All of us were real little, but we were chasing each other, and I was trying to get away from somebody. And I ran right in the street around the parked car. And at that time, another car was coming down the street, but they were going pretty fast. And even though they missed me, just barely, I thought everything was okay. But Odell picked me up, took me in the house, and whooped me until I fell asleep.
Oh. Jesus.
Yeah.
That was a good whoop.
When he started whooping me, it was daylight. I thought it was like midday, right around 1 or 2 o'clock. When I woke up, it was nighttime.
You went to sleep. You passed out. You probably fainted.
Sound like
Yeah, he whooped me for real.
that sounds a little horrible.
Odell
was on the call earlier.
Yeah, he had to get off at 4. What was the address of the Ewan house?
There was 2 Ewan house. 2512 was the first one. And then that second one,
the
what was
Fleet
that
house.
address? Yeah, that was the Fleet house.
I know that.
It was like 52 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in, the backyard was infested with fleas.
52 something on Ewing, the Fleet house.
That was back during the gas rationing too.
Right.
I know the first house on Ewing, it was 2512 South Ewing.
Yeah.
And the second one, I can't remember that address, but there was 2 houses on Ewing.
I had forgot about the
The second house was, like Tony was saying, that old flea house. It was just infested with fleas.
Yeah, I remember that one because I stayed with you guys over there and went to Roger T. Mills.
Mm-hmm.
And one evening coming home from school, there was, it was raining really hard. That was tornado season. And she was scared. It was real dark. And she said, girl, I've been worried about you because it's a twister. And being young, you don't know what the twister means. But anyway, it was bad out there that day. It was windy, and she was like, I needed you to hurry up and get in this house. The twister is out. So I can't, but I just know it was in the Roger Q. Mills school district.
Roger P. Mills?
Q
Mills.
Yeah.
School district.
How you get Q the P out of Q?
I couldn't hear what she said. Okay.
That wiry conversation. Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tony, since we were about to wrap, I'll let you close us with the question I asked, which was I guess I didn't ask it like this. I got to remember how I asked it. I asked, for the people who didn't know Grandma Mauphene, or for the generations that are living right now, what would you say is a lesson that she would want us to hold on to?
I would say probably the theme that we had for one of the family reunions about bringing family together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that probably was directly related to, some of her wishes. I think, between her and Aunt Rosie, those were the 2 things that stick with me about both of them, is always wanting family around.
So that's the same thing that's been repeated for a while. All of us said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that had to be really strong.
Everybody's on point.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's why Tony got to go sign off on this land over here.
I missed out on that conversation. What is it about this land? What land we talking about?
We gotta have a family compound.
Yeah, family compound. We need like some acres. It could be, so we can start with 100, but it's about 200-300 over here for sale. And everybody, build a home on it. And that's where we all stay. And we just call it the Brown Estates.
How much is the land? Did you ask?
I can.
Is all the land buildable? You got to make sure it's not in a floodplain and that all of the land is buildable and usable. We also got to figure out what the ingress and egress is, how much of the land we're going to use for streets and common areas and all that. So if you start off with 300, you might have about 120 usable
that's good.
land.
Yeah, that's your part. I'm going to find it. You do your part.
Well, on that note, we can close the call. What I was saying was this is recorded, so I can share it out. Jessica says she will transcribe it, so that way we have the notes as well. And I keep a blog that I haven't been good at being consistent on, but I can put it there as well. And I know Aunt Rhonda has a domain name for us, so eventually we could put these recordings there. But basically, we're just trying to make sure that we keep hold of our stories and try to keep all of this documented. We have suggested that we do this every third Sunday, unless, we need to reschedule, and we just do one around a different person. I've just been suggesting the people each time, but we don't have to do who I say. I'm just kicking it off. I was suggesting I would go with my grandma on next one, which is Rosie. But I was also suggesting that we don't just do people who have passed on, that we also take time to talk to people who are alive and well right now and gather those stories as well so that we can have it all documented. But that's,
Willie Smith.
Yeah. I want to do that one too. We got to do that ASAP.
Yeah.
Do y'all want to do that next or?
Yeah, we can do that next.
All right, Uncle Sonny, we doing you next. You on mute? Are you on mute?
It don't look like it.
No, he's not on mute.
What's up, Uncle Sonny?
They said, "What's up?"
He'll fell asleep.
I'm gonna wear my hat. I'm gonna wear my hat like you.
How's the baby doing?
Yeah, that hat.
How's the baby doing?
He's doing good. He's bad. That means he's doing good.
Yes.
Okay.
So Marie, you heard that?
Or what?
We're doing Uncle Sonny next month.
History
on Uncle Sonny.
Both sides of it, the good, bad, and
bad, ugly, indifferent. We want all of it.
We want to hear all of it.
All the kids gonna have different.
All of
it. We need all the children together.
We got quite a few of them in the back.
Okay, well they gonna be up. They gonna be on front.
Okay.
Now let me double check the date. Is the third Sunday a holiday week, or are we good to meet that day?
November.
Yeah, the third Sunday in November.
Actually, that's gonna be his weekend, his birthday weekend, I think.
Oh, is it?
Ain't that everybody gonna be there?
His birthday is gonna be that next weekend, the 22nd, but the 15th is fine.
The 15th.
Okay.
That's St. Barbara's birthday week too.
Yeah, that day apart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we'll do Uncle Sonny on the 15th at 3:30.
You awesome? And we had to have communion over here.
Oh, y'all have a communion?
Oh, this is on the family.
Jessica blessing them all. They trying to be discreet and just.
Yes.
Hey, I had a rough day at work today. Hey,
on the front line.
it's hard.
Well, cool. All right, so we got our plan. 15th, 3:30, Uncle Sonny. All the children will be here. And then everybody else, y'all bring y'all's questions. I'll record as always, and then as soon as this is finished processing, I'll post it so that y'all have access to it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I enjoyed y'all. I love y'all.
Love you too. Love y'all.
See y'all later.
Good seeing everybody.
Good seeing everybody too.
All right.
Bye.
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 Oh, I see ya.
Bye.
We got barely got the
Must be still in the bathroom.